What's going on? My name is Tagliaferro, or you can just call me Tags, and I am a professional content creator, owner of Trinity Tags Content Creation, a creative agency that does work out of Dallas, Miami, New York, all the major cities here. If you are new here, you know that I talk about a couple of things. Those are, little content creation hacks and tips and all of that, and you can go down my past videos to see me talk about specific lenses and things of that nature. But today, I wanted to talk about something I think is super important. I wanted to share how I have become what some would consider an expert in these fields. If you've read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, if you haven't and you're a young creative and young entrepreneur, you should read that book like tomorrow. It talks about a concept, working and practicing your 10,000 hours, and that it takes and requires 10,000 hours to become an expert in anything. Somebody who is very skilled in the specific craft that they are doing. I am creating YouTube videos. I am not an expert in speech quite yet. I haven't really put my 10,000 hours in, but when it comes to video editing, I would consider myself an expert. And that is because I did 3 different things to rapidly accelerate my development in the skill. I did the same things for photography, for graphic design, and for videography. But here are the 3 fast track growth hacks for you to become the best at whatever you're trying to do fast. You'll notice that an education in a film school or some sort of formal education is not on my list of 3 things. I personally dropped out of college after 1 semester. It was not for me. I wasn't really learning anything new. Across all of these 3 growth ramps to becoming an expert, one thing rings true for all of them, and that is humbling yourself and understanding that at first you will need to work for free. Now, I know this is a very charged thing to say in this area. I wouldn't do anything for free where I am now, but I got to where I am now because I did a lot of things for free. And you have to look at it this way. Every time you offer a service to anybody, the way you conduct business is you get something in return. There are other ways outside of el dólar que would help me, in like equity in a company or maybe some profit sharing things. But when you're first starting and you can't really offer a glamorous amount of value for a glamorous amount of money, one really important exchange you should be looking at is time for experience, time for those hours. You're spending your time giving that to whoever you're offering it to in exchange for experience. When you're first starting, you need to be getting your 10,000 hours in, and know if you don't have experience, you're not going to get hired by you putting up a price that people don't think you're worth. The only value you can receive for what you can give is just experience, and that's got to be okay with you. If you are not willing to work for low prices or for little to nothing to get good at the craft, then you're looking at the wrong industry here, especially in the creative side, where it is very hard to sell these kinds of things if you're not experienced in it. Here are the 3 ways that I learned to get good. Number 1, work for a non-profit. Okay, now look, I'm Christian. I believe Jesus Christ is my savior. You might not believe the same thing, but you might have some sort of belief system, or maybe you just have a servant's heart and you're interested in helping your local community, which if you're creative and you enjoy telling stories, I would assume that that's something you are passionate about. I would look at your nearest nonprofit, go up to them and offer them to do work for them, capture their stories, spend a lot of time learning and growing and creating content for them to continue being able to do their service. For me, when I was 15, I joined a small group in my local church, all about cameras and learning how to film and stuff. And the 2 guys that led that small group became my first 2 mentors. They gave me my first camera and they allowed me to learn alongside them. And the way it worked at the church I was in is they would have a creative director almost rotate every year, because if you're a Christian and you've been in church and you've worked for a church and you've been a creative in the church, you'll know that you get worked to oblivion and you burn out very easy because it's a lot of work, and usually churches don't pay as well because it's a church. So what I would do from 15 to about 18 years old, I would introduce myself to the creative director as somebody who wanted to lend a helping hand and that I just wanted to learn. And so I got to experience firsthand, at least twice a week, for somebody who's been experienced for years, how they work. And the cool thing is the first guy I learned from, who was my first mentor, was a very traditional filmmaker. So I learned, the art of composition. I learned the traditional side of filmmaking from him. Then he left, and the next year they hired a more trendy videographer to do more like editing, more highly edited videos. So at that point, I didn't really know how to edit well. He just taught me how to shoot. So with this guy, I would sit in while he would edit really cool promotionals that were very, like, you would see this on a Super Bowl commercial. Like it's not like a cheesy church thing. They were really sick things. And I would get there and sit and understand these techniques, speed ramping, After Effects composition, all of these things. The next year they hired a creative director that mainly did photography. So then I learned photography and event capturing, because that's what we did as a church. You capture the Sunday services and Wednesday services and all of that. Through the years, I ended up getting hired full-time at the church as part of their central team when they expanded, and it became a very rich source for me to not just learn, but to develop my skills. And that is easily what I attribute all of my success and understanding of how to create content was from, being a young kid who just wanted to learn, who was okay with not getting paid, and just going and learning, but being a part of something where you are getting a repetitive, version of practice. That's what I mean by joining a nonprofit or something, because they always need promotional stuff. If it's not a church, it could be, I'm not well versed in other religions and what their budgets look like for marketing, but it could be the local food bank, right? So that's number one, join some sort of nonprofit or religious organization and just get your reps in there. Number two is going the agency route. Now, I own a creative agency, and the model of my creative agency is very special and very specific. So it doesn't work exactly like a boutique agency does. It doesn't work exactly how a full-scale agency does. More traditional agencies, what they do is they build out a team of like 50 to 100 content creators, editors, writers, whatever, and they assign them to 6 to 10 different clients' accounts, if you will, and there you are working, and they work your ass off. It's kind of known that if you want to burn out in the creative industry, go work for an agency, because you are just constantly on some sort of editing platform, constantly traveling, constantly doing stuff. It's not where you want to be unless you're trying to scale and you're trying to build your own agency and you want experience, or you are trying to scale in that internal agency corporate ladder. But I've worked for like 4 to 6 different agencies here in Dallas, Texas. Before I got hired full-time to the church, I worked for 2 different agencies, 2 like startups, one a little more established, the other super from the ground up. And I got to understand things outside of, I was already experienced, but it gave me, again, more reps, more hours for that 10,000 hour mark. And 2, the most important part, it gave me more of an understanding of the business side, because I'm working with these startup agencies, and it helped me understand the art of selling creative. In that model, the other kind of through line is that I got work a lot. I was editing like 2 videos a day for one of them. I was editing like 12 videos a month for the other. And then after that, I worked full time at the church, came out, and I started freelancing, subcontracting for a bunch of different agencies here in Dallas and Atlanta. I worked with them, and it allowed me to, again, get past the hurdle of finding clients by myself without some sort of, portfolio or resume that I can really sell, and just work and just grind. Now, the reason why I will recommend the agency route a little more than the nonprofit, church, religious organization route is because you're going to be surrounded by other creatives, and you're going to be interfacing and just interacting with other creatives. So you'll learn things from them by proxy. Again, that's what you need to think about right now, where you're sitting at right now. It's not how do I get the most money? It's how do I get as good as I can possibly get? How do I reach my highest attribute score? Okay, and number 3, the final one, and again, there's so many more ways, but these are the ways I learned. Join a corporate marketing team. Okay, now this is something I did until literally January of last year. I worked at a tech company for a year and a half. Basically, I was going through LinkedIn and I was looking for a job. Okay, where I was in life, I wanted something a little more steady for the time. So I applied for a creative, a graphic designer / videographer role. Perfect, because I do all of that at a local tech company here in Dallas. The same day, I got an email back. They said, hey, this is perfect. They gave me a little trial thing, like project. I had to animate something for them, something I got good at the church. I did it same day. I started working with them in 2 days, the Monday, because I emailed them on Friday. Got the job on Monday. Worked with them for 1.5 years. This job for me was more graphic design oriented than video oriented, which was great, because I had already become an expert in video editing. I already understand it. I'm already good at it. Graphic design is something I was like, I could get by. If a client needed me to put together an Instagram like graphic, or some sort of flyer, or a really beginner logo, I could do it. Part of the job, they allowed me to sign up for courses through the job on company time to learn Adobe Illustrator and get better at it, so I could produce more content for them and have them stop using their freelancer, which they did at a certain point. Again, this is another place where you are putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be working your ass off, which again, you need in your like if you are 15 to 28 years old, you should not be focusing on building an empire. Okay, I know there's a select few YouTubers who are going to say, oh my God, I'm a millionaire by 19 or a millionaire by 22. That's not the norm. Okay, and you have to act as if you are part of the norm to supersede the norm and become extraordinary. Okay, and the way you become extraordinary and you're able to sell yourself at higher rates for less work is by becoming the best you possibly can. So the corporate route, go on LinkedIn, put together some sort of portfolio for your work. Every freaking company local to you is looking for a marketing team member to create these things internally, because they don't want to hire an agency like mine if they can afford not to. Always available. It's always there. And you can apply for like 25 of them. Pick ones that are suited in the things you want to learn and apply for these corporate roles. They usually have good pay, okay, better than agency. It's stable, so you can do your 9 to 5 and then go and keep working on your freelance things. It's a great third route for, again, rapid growth. You're going to be working a lot. You're going to be generating a lot, as opposed to sitting at home, posting on Instagram, waiting for people to come to you. It's another approach where you can set yourself up to learn and to get great at something. And those, my friends, are the 3 ways for you to rapidly grow as a creative in whatever field in the creative side you want to be in. If you're like me, somebody who wants to be good at everything, this I'm telling you, you're going to become really good. All of the animation in this video, all the animation and everything, I've done myself, and I didn't learn that when I started. I put myself in situations where I could learn it and I could grow from it with actual experience, not just looking at a tutorial and practicing by myself in my room, or at a school where I'm creating school projects that don't mean anything. Working with real people, real teams, in a real life environment. And I think that is so important for you to do, so you can understand not only how to create the stuff, but how to interact with people. These are the 3 ways that have helped me. If you have any ways or any kind of fast track methods to grow in whatever skill you consider yourself good at, comment below. I want to talk to you about it. I want to learn myself, maybe, because I'm still trying to grow. I'm 25. I still got 3 years to give you the best. We're doing all right. We're doing all right with ourselves. But if you have any other questions, or maybe you want something you want me to cover, you want me to talk about, let me know. Please hit a like and subscribe if you got value out of this video. You'll notice I didn't say that in the beginning because I'm not cheesy and I'm not asking for algorithm help if you actually don't get value. But if you got here, you probably did. So like it, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend who is a bum and isn't doing anything to be good at their field. And yeah, this has been your boy, Andres Tagliaferro, or Tags, which is something that you can call me. And I hope you have a very good day, very good weekend. And as always, remember to stay grateful. Peace. Lighting, I get it. It's so menacing.